Hey kids, John is here, and it looks like the playoff beards are going to be coming out a little longer. Mine's looking a little gnarly, but that's okay because the Vegas Golden Knights do it again, and they do it in dominating fashion here tonight and move on to the Western Conference Finals. Sorry, I'm laughing while I'm saying that. Matt's joining us here. Let's get Matty on. Give me a second. Hey, everybody, jumping on. Matt's coming on now. All right, Matt. Western Conference Finals. I giggled a little bit. I snickered. This team is off to the Western Conference Finals. I mean, stunning. It's stunning right now. And I guess big picture here, Vegas, enjoy every second of this because this isn't supposed to happen, but it's happened, and we have to enjoy it.
This is crazy, right? I mean, the words don't come out clearly anymore because this, like you said, this isn't supposed to happen. We're in the Final Four, right? Vegas is in the Final Four, or Frozen Four if we're going hockey terms, in the National Hockey League Stanley Cup playoffs. It's amazing. This is amazing. And the way they did it in Game 5 and Game 6, just completely dominating the Sharks, with the exception of a few minutes there at the end of Game 3 where they let it get away from them a little bit, up 4-0, and, maybe took their foot off the pedal. It completely dominated San Jose, and the best team came out of the Pacific without question.
Yeah, you look at the first period of this one, Matt. Let's just start there, right? The Sharks, pretty even period. The Sharks had some good chances, but I feel like it was a complete opposite of what the Knights did in the first period of Game 5, right? They got that late goal from James Neal with 3 seconds to go, and they were kind of set from that point on, where here the Sharks aren't rewarded for their good play in the first period, and it's the Golden Knights essentially by avoiding giving up a goal. They win the period, and then it sets them up for, what happened, but, how do we not mention the goalposts that were on our side the entire night? And you need a little bit of luck, Matt. There's no question about it. You need a little bit of luck. The Knights did hit a few posts themselves. Obviously, that Nate Schmidt goal was pretty interesting. But first star of the night, does that go to the goalpost for the Golden Knights?
Well, goalposts were great, but my God, Marc-Andre Fleury. Are you kidding me with this guy? He's just, I guess from now on, he's just going to open and close every series with a shutout. That's how he's going to do things. Just an amazing performance by him. I know Tony mentioned it, so he was actually excited about something that the Knights did. When he jumped out of the way of that tip-in attempt by San Jose, he jumped off his skates so that the puck didn't hit him and deflect back into the net. To even have that move in the back of his head, to understand how quickly he had to get up off the ice and get out of the way of that puck after just having made a save was unbelievable. But you go back to the first period, like you mentioned, this was Los Angeles all over again. This was Game 4 in Los Angeles. I was in LA for that game. We're all nervous, all the Knights fans that are there, because LA was relentless on the pressure. They just kept coming the entire first period. It was about 5 minutes ago, I looked at my brother-in-law. I said, if they can get out of this period 0-0, they're going to win this game. And you felt the exact same way at the end of the first period today. They weathered a crazy storm from San Jose, who you could tell was playing desperate and doing everything they could to get out ahead in this game. And they got out of it 0-0. And there you go. They're off and running.
Yeah, if you're watching, just comment. We want to hear where you watched the game. I know Matt was at the Sin Bin party. We'll get into that, but we got a few comments, Matt. I'll just scroll through them. Vince saying, go Knights, go. Clearly, Megan with her hands in the air. Yep, that was great. MVP of the game was the goalpost. Yes, Vince is right to a certain extent, but again, Marc-Andre Fleury. So this is his fourth shutout of the playoffs, which is just nuts. 4 shutouts in 8 wins. You can't say enough of that. David Blackman, onto the Stanley Cup, he says. Vince saying our defense showed up. Finally, Reaves got to play. He looked like he was mad at practice. We'll go back to Reaves in a second. And then Tiffany saying Flower plus goalpost equals unbelievable. So let's start with Ryan Reaves. He gets the call in for the injured William Carrier, and Reaves plays a phenomenal game. And I'm sure Tony Cordasco is going to say he had it in him all along. But really, Reaves stepped in there like he hadn't missed a beat. And really, you can make the argument it was his best game as a Golden Knight.
Reaves played a smart game. Reaves played within himself. He didn't go out and try to do too much. He didn't go out and try to try to be overly physical and rough the Sharks up and do things that are going to get them in trouble. Took no penalties, didn't even come close to taking penalties, was aggressive when he needed to be aggressive. His checking was on time. It was correct. It was where it needed to be. Still frustrates the hell out of me when it comes to putting a shot on goal because he just can't settle the puck down. But he played a very smart, very intelligent game. He played exactly the way they needed him to play. He did not try to do too much. When he first got to Vegas, and it was the back-to-back LA games, the home and home in back-to-back nights, you saw him almost trying to prove himself to the team. Like, hey, look at me. I'm the new guy. I'm a big physical threat. This is what I'm going to do. I need to go out and prove myself to this team who's riding high in first place. That's not the Ryan Reaves we got today. He played a smart game. He played the game that Carrier played in the first 4 games against the LA Kings. That was the way that we saw Carrier play. He was aggressive when he had to be. He frustrated the hell out of the opponent and did what he needed to do to help that line succeed. That's the Reaves we got tonight.
Yeah, no question. Depending on what Carrier's injury is, I hadn't heard of anything about it. He was day-to-day is what Gallant told me last I heard. But, making a case to stay in the lineup, certainly if Carrier can't go here for the next series, he played great. And your point was the same as mine, is that those first 2 games, I feel like Reaves kind of got a bad rap in those first 2 games, right, where people just thought he was a little reckless. Then he corrected himself. Yeah. He played well within the offense, within the defense. He's not going to put up points. I think he had 1 assist in the regular season in those games that he played. But he got a bad rap in those first 2 games, played well the rest of the way. But, you need to score goals, clearly, to win a playoff series. So that's why he hasn't made an appearance. But if he comes back in, I don't have an issue with it. At this point, but Marc-Andre Fleury, again, phenomenal. That fourth line as a whole, though, let's talk about that. And they've been doing it all year, so people have been picking up on this. But this fourth line, from day one with Bellemare leading the way, Bellemar's been, right, the number one consistency on there. But this Bellemare line, really, again, you can make the argument, and maybe it's true that it's the MVP line of this team. A phenomenal game from them.
Well, I think because of the way that the fourth line for San Jose kind of turned things around in game 2 and 3 and even 4, where they started to establish a little bit of dominance and they were getting the scoring chances. They were winning the games. They were winning all the battles out there. I think this fourth line for the Knights kind of took it upon themselves to go, all right, you know what? That's enough. We know how good we are. We know how good we can skate and how much we frustrate the other team. Let's start playing our game. And you saw that in game 5, and obviously you saw that tonight in game 6, where they just put the hammer down and they weren't going to let that line do anything. And there were first period where most of the scoring chances came for the Sharks. But after that, they were just frustrated from goal line to goal line. They had no space. There was no open ice in front of them to really work. Outside of a couple shots here and there, the Knights really frustrated them from top to bottom.
Yeah, and we were right, Matty. We had it right from the beginning of the series, right? We were both in agreement. Shockingly, there's 2 people on the Sports Adrenaline team that agree about something. But we knew that the Golden Knights were the better team. Slightly better. Sharks had a great season. They made a nice push towards the end of the year. Or, excuse me, didn't they flounder towards the end of the year? Either way, we knew it was going to be a close series. But I originally said Knights in 6. You went Knights in 6. I changed it to 5 just based on that sweep. But, our initial thoughts were correct.
You know what? If not for the overturned goal, John, you got Knights in 5.
It's true. So, that's true. We got more comments here. Let's see here. Megan says he doesn't care about the Dodgers right now. It's all about hockey. No. This is true. This is true. Gallant.
Sorry, LA. I'm all nice.
Matt
right
Evans
now.
said Gallant made some great adjustments, and boy, did he ever? Yeah. It seems like he just had some magic there. We can talk about him. One more comment here from Glenn. I don't think John gets enough credit. Clearly, I don't get enough credit for anything. If I'm not wrong,
I would agree with that.
He was one of the first to break the whole hockey in Vegas story. Yeah, that was a long time ago, right? And when you think about it, over 2 years ago, I was still working at Fox 5 at the time. But, man, I was all over it because I was so excited about it. And clearly, as you see what I'm wearing here tonight, I'm still all excited about it. And we can still be objective journalists when they play like crap. I can say they play like crap. But guess what? They didn't play like crap in this series. They had one bad game. Outside of that, they've been phenomenal in the playoffs. And now, again, Western Conference Finals, Matty. Hey, can the
kidding me?
Can the city of Las Vegas put some signs downtown now? Is it
Can we get some signage,
Is
Vegas?
it too early to get on that rant on this video? I feel like I have to. Where are the we need some signs downtown.
I think every hotel on the Strip should be wrapped in VGK gold, right? Just shields and sword logos all over the place.
Yeah,
just get it done.
It's a little ridiculous. Family chiming in. John, I give you the most credit. Thanks, Jenna. You guys are awesome. Local Las Vegas. Yeah, we stick to local. Unlike, some other sports talk shows out there, they want to focus on national stuff. But guess what? We are a national sports city. All right, so, this train is going to keep rolling, right?
Should we go to period 2?
Well, I guess we could. I mean, what happened in period 2?
That's where the action happened, right?
Right, exactly.
Well, let's start with the first goal by Marchessault to get the Knights off and running. Riley Smith with the unbelievable forecheck work. Good forecheck, got the puck, lost the puck, kept working, got it back, held it in the zone, and gets it to a wide-open Marchessault to get it past Jones to start the scoring. And you could feel San Jose just go, oh, no, here we go. That work by Riley Smith. And to that point, I felt like Smith was not having a great game. He just wasn't real sound with the puck. He was losing it too much. He wasn't not really the crisp passing that we're used to seeing.
Yeah, I was going to mention
and
passing.
Then all of a sudden he turns it around and that play was all Riley Smith.
Yep, phenomenal. And then the Nate Schmidt goal. I mean, I didn't catch it. Wow. I don't know if you caught it. I mean, I heard the bang off the crossbar, right? And then play continues. I didn't see it. They stopped playing. I'm like, what's going on here? And then they go
Did you hear the horn?
No, I didn't. Oh, did the horn go off? Oh, well, the horn just stopped play. Right. The horn went off to stop play, but it was a goal horn, I guess.
Well, and it's a different horn. It's a very faint. It's not the goal horn. It's a real faint kind of background horn to let them know to stop play. And the second I heard that, I looked at everybody around and went, that's a goal. It went in. Why else are you going to stop play right there?
Right.
And, it happened so fast. It was bang, bang out of there before you ever saw it hit that camera. But, what a shot by Nate Schmidt. But what a game of inches, right? You're talking about San Jose hitting 2, 3, 4 posts today. The Knights hit a couple as well that didn't go in. Smitty hits one, and it caroms in off the camera for the goal. And, the 2-0 lead felt like a 10-0 lead.
Right, game over.
Once Fleury settled in.
Well, and especially, we weren't there, right? I know a lot of local media was there, but no question that SAP Center died after that 2-0 goal. You could hear a pin drop in there. So the life, just like the life was sucked out of the Golden Knights a bit after that overtime goal that got reversed in, what was that, Game 2? Right, Game 2. The life just completely got sucked out of the SAP Center. And from there, you didn't feel like the Sharks had a chance at all, even based on what they did in Game 5, right, with those 3 late goals. But, when the life gets sucked out like that. And then third period, right, the defense just absolutely turns it on and don't really allow anything. Marc-Andre makes another few great saves, but really the defense was the story in period 3.
The way they played in that third period, I was just unbelievably impressed by the fact that the Sharks are desperate in that. They're going to come out in the third period desperate to at least get on the board. And for the first minute or two, they pressed a little bit, and then that was it. The Knights just absolutely whipped them from goal line to goal line for the majority of that third period. It looked like the Knights were the ones that needed to get on the board. Like they were the ones that were pressing, trying to come from behind, peppering Jones with shot after shot after shot. At one point, I think it was 12 or 13-3 shots on goal just in the third period alone. They absolutely dominated the neutral zone. They wouldn't let San Jose get a single clean entry into the offensive zone. And then once they got it out, they didn't just dump it in and leave it. They were aggressive on the forecheck. They were constantly putting shots on goal. And there was absolutely nothing San Jose could do about it. Once Vegas gets rolling like that, you can't stop them.
Sure. Louis commenting, hey, it's VGK coverage. We were a few shots on post away from going to Game 7. But again, that's hockey. And I thought about this going into tonight's game, right? You need puck luck. There's no question about it. And really, all the calls, all series long, right, the majority of them going against the Golden Knights. You look at that delay of game penalty in the first period that was called against the Golden Knights that clearly, again, we had the benefit of replay. But the referees really the officials have to give the Golden Knights the benefit of the doubt there. There was a stick right in the vicinity of the play. I don't know how you call that delay a game.
You don't see that very often. Usually they just assume there's a tip, right?
Right. Err on the side of caution. So, they screw it up in a bad way. So, puck luck's part of the game, but there's really been no bad deflections here. There's a lot of times where you just get beat on a bad play, whether it's a skate gets a skate gets in the way and scores a goal. I mean, that happens in hockey. So you can't really equate the post saying Vegas got lucky. I mean, that's just part of the game. I mean, it can go one way one game and it can go another way another game. So there's still more hockey to be played, right? At least 4 more games, likely a lot more. But the Golden Knights are 4 games away from playing for a Stanley Cup. Vince commenting, we need more signs. Thank you, Vince. There should be a banner coming down from the stratosphere. Wouldn't that be nice to wrap one of the legs of the stratosphere? That would be amazing. I'm sure.
Just fly a humongous flag off the antenna there. Just some big giant football field size flag.
You can do that. Vince again commenting. Totally appreciate the Knights sticking to the game plan and not snap and fight and get more penalties. Right, a very disciplined game, which is what we saw in Game 5. Do you think both that coach and front office have an idea in mind for a team captain? Well, it's a little bit of a tangent, but I mean, clearly I would vote for Marc-Andre Fleury at this point.
Yeah, I don't think this team needs a captain this season. Going forward, they probably have an idea, or maybe they're going to wait and see who they bring into the fold. But this team doesn't need a captain right now because they're all playing for each other. They're not looking for a leader. These guys all lean on each other and understand what they have to do to get the job done. And that's been the theme of this team since day one. It's that nobody wanted us kind of mentality. So let's just rally around each other. And as a group, collectively, we'll go out and get this done. So that's why you see 5 A's out there and no C's.
Yeah, no question. I'm sure Glenn was talking more about next season, if that even happens next season. I don't know if it even happens next season. Do you name a captain, off a potential Stanley Cup winning team? I mean, because now, again, Final Four, we've said it all along, right, even going into the playoffs. The team is the favorite to win the Stanley Cup right now, and the league still has yet to grasp this concept. It's really stunning. You're talking about a team. And I was watching something, actually, it was kind of odd, but I was watching just for some research that I was doing for grad school. I watched a TEDx talk today, and it was about how statistically teams with less superstars actually win more games. We have a little superstar coming in here. Let's see if he makes an appearance. He's not going to show up. Little Giovanni's here. Hold on. There you go. Gio's crashing the live shot. I don't know how long he's going to hang out.
What's up, Gio? How you doing, bud?
He said he's 5 years old, in case you couldn't hear that. So, what do you think about What do you think about the Golden Knights win, Gio? They won again today. What do you think? Shrug your shoulders. They're going to play for Stanley Cup soon.
I hope they win the champions tomorrow.
Hope they win the champions tomorrow. They've got a ways to play.
It's old news to Gio. He's used to this now.
Yeah. Love you, buddy. Okay. All right. Mom's over there. He's a sweetheart. He's a huge Golden Knights fan, too. In case you didn't see my live shot with Gio a couple weeks ago, he did predict a win for the Golden Knights against the LA Kings in one of those games in the last series. So, where do we go from here, Maddie? I mean, you want to talk about the opponents, potential opponents for the next series? We have the Jets. Now, I can get on the signage tangent again and say, okay, if the Jets win that series, do we just ban the color blue from the city of Las Vegas? That would be kind of pathetic and be a little difficult to do. Don't you think, Las Vegas? Sorry. So Jets, or we ban gold. If it's the Predators, right? It's a 3-2 Jets series lead, correct? Correct me if I'm wrong.
You can't really ban gold. I don't know how that's going to work when we're the Golden Knights.
Yeah, I wrote it down. I have it. So both teams, Golden Knights 2-1 against. And let's see here. Against the Jets, they had a 5-2 win over Winnipeg early in the season. That was November. Max Legacy and net. They lose 7-4 in December. That was an away game, again, Legacy and net, and then a 3-2 overtime win February 1st. Fleury was in net for that game. Nashville, right, we know about how intense that series was. A 4-3 shootout win. That was an away game in December. January 2nd, 3-0 Golden Knights win, and then a 1-0 loss, which that was a really exciting game later in January, and that was an away game. So, again, between the two teams here, Maddie, I haven't watched much of that series. I'm going to watch Game 6 tomorrow night, clearly. But what do you think as far as who you'd like to see them play? Personally, I don't care, but what do you think?
Going into the series, I thought that Nashville would be the tougher matchup. But after watching this series unfold, man, the Jets are good. They are good, and they can score, and they can score in a hurry. This team is fast. They're big. They're physical. Their home ice advantage is unreal. I think the Knights were one of only 7 teams to go into Winnipeg this season and win. So that's a tough matchup right there. I think you need to lean towards Winnipeg right now as far as looking forward, because I don't know that going back to Winnipeg for Game 6 that the Predators are going to have enough to get it done. They're eating Rinne alive right now. Pekka Rinne, the goalie for Nashville, is just he's had a good game here and there, but he's getting peppered and he hasn't been able to do much about it lately. So I would expect Winnipeg to close it out tomorrow, and I'm going to have a hard time picking the Knights to beat the Jets in that series for a couple of reasons. One, home ice. Again, they're amazing on home ice. Every bit, if not more amazing than what the Knights are at T-Mobile. But again, they get home ice advantage. No matter who we play in this series, it's home ice advantage for the other team. So it's going to be tough. It's going to be tough. Winnipeg's, like I said, they're fast. They can get after you in a hurry. Lionel's amazing. It's going to be a tough one, man.
Yeah, and you mentioned home ice, but it's also now, whether it's Nashville or Winnipeg, you're talking about now, including Vegas, probably the 3 best home atmospheres in the NHL. As far as ticket prices go, I think only Winnipeg rivals what Las Vegas is doing at T-Mobile Arena. And then clearly we saw last year with Nashville making it to the Stanley Cup final, just how amazing and how much signage they had in Nashville. Saw all that. We have a lot of comments rolling in. I encourage you guys, keep on commenting. I'll try to read them all here. Who would the Golden Knights rather play? We just covered that. So that was from Byron. Sorry. Let's see here. Devil's Advocate. They get past Winnipeg, Nashville, and then win the Cup. Do they bring all the A's up at once to C's? I think Glenn's saying make them all captains. Sure, why not? Vince says hi to Gio. Right. Marcus Mitchell, congratulations to our Knights, and big hugs to John with a loss. Yeah, I lost a family member early this morning, my Uncle Jim. Really sad. You're going to make me choke up, Marcus, but appreciate the condolences. Yeah, he was a big part of our family, so we'll tribute part of this video to Uncle Jim. Tough time for my family right now. Don't think people understand how big of an accomplishment this is. This is Aiden William. My father is a diehard Toronto Maple Leafs fan. He has been waiting since 1967. This is incredible for so many reasons and could be once in a lifetime. Yeah, again, Matt, I keep on saying this. Vegas, and we're going to have some naive fans out there. I get that. It's going to happen. So the NHL kind of needs to get ready for this. Part of Vegas really doesn't realize what it's got going on here because we're so new to what's happening around us. But us being here our whole lives, I think we can savor it a little bit more. I'm a Cubs fan, had to wait forever for that. You're a Dodgers fan, still waiting. I'm not doing it to piss you off, Matt. I'm just saying. We have perspective here. We certainly have perspective. Yeah. I'm dumbfounded.
I'm a Dodgers and a Raiders fan, so it's like double, man.
I'm just dumbfounded here. I can't process it, and I don't think I will process it until well after this season is over when we start going through withdrawals. But again, I was just thinking about before we started doing this video, I was remembering the first time I went to the practice facility at City National Arena, and it was right before the season started. It might have been after the first, preseason game, but I remember going up to Eric Halla and Nate Schmidt and a few other guys and just asking them, hey, nobody thinks this team is any good. I don't think I used those words. I said, nobody expects this team to contend. What do you guys say to that? How do you combat that? And they just said, in its simple message, we'll let our playing do the talking. And that was, 5-6 months ago? Man. And I just, I have a grin on my face thinking about that because, they were the only ones that believed in them. I mean, I was hoping for a mediocre hockey team, just like the majority of Las Vegas was like, or the overwhelming majority, if not everybody, didn't think that this team would be any good. We were going to go to T-Mobile. We were going to have a good time. We were going to enjoy our first year of Major League franchise fandom and move on to year 2. And I was fully on board with Bill Foley's plan, playoffs in 3, Cup in 6.
Yeah.
And that timetable is completely screwed up now thanks to the way these guys are playing. But just, what other perspective can you lend here, Matt, about how we just have to savor every second of this, because it is so rare to get to this point. It's just, let's just say hypothetically, I mean, the Knights may not make it back here again for a long time. I mean, you never know. You just don't know how it goes down.
It's funny, the range of emotions that you've had from day one where, oh my gosh, we're potentially going to get a hockey team, this ticket drive, and it's amazing, to we're actually going to get a hockey team, to naming the team, to getting players, to that first game where you can't believe you have a team on the ice, and then all the records throughout the course of the season that this team was able to attain. And now that's irrelevant. All those records, all that, the first year stuff and the expansion team and all of that seems like such an afterthought at this point, because they're in the Western Conference Finals. They're not playing for records anymore and to be the best expansion team ever or anything like that. They're playing to get their name on the Stanley Cup. They're 8 wins away from a Stanley Cup championship. They're 4-1 at home. They're 4-1 on the road. It's supposed to be harder, and this team just keeps making it look easy. And it's an amazing run that they're on, and I don't know if they quite understand what's going on. They just look like they bring their lunch pails to work every day. They go out, they play hockey, and when it's all said and done, they walk away with another shutout victory. And it's amazing to watch this unfold. And we've talked about it a number of times going into that locker room, and it's just the same group of guys every time. Never too high, never too low, just even-keeled. Next game, really taking on Gerard Gallant, his personality, where take it one game at a time, we'll just go on to the next one. And it's extremely cliche, but it's obvious that this team buys into that because they just keep doing it over and over.
Yeah, and I take it one step further. The last time George McPhee met with the media was after the 4-0 sweep of the Kings, and he said the exact same thing. I asked him the question, is this a magical run that this team is on? And he wouldn't answer. He just said that's for the media to decide. That's for the fans to decide. It's lunch pail stuff is exactly what he said. They go to work. They stay in the front offices. They stay in the arena. Sure, they notice a little bit of the fans, but everybody else sees it more than them because they're just out there working. I mean, you look at the call-ups. They brought up the taxi squad, right? They brought up all the young kids and all the draft picks to come and practice with these guys, hopefully for the Stanley Cup run. So they are fully ingrained in what's happening with the organization. So they haven't even fully processed it. I mean, you talk to the guys, and you're right, Matt. Again, the demeanor of this team, you talk about the mission that they're on and the mindsets they all have. They're all on the same page. You don't have guys coming in here thinking this is my contract year. I have to play really well to get a big deal next year. You don't have, you have other guys fighting for roster spots, sure, but it just seems like there's no individual missions here. It's all one team mission, and they've been doing a phenomenal job mentally with that. Angelo here saying Gallant made all the right moves the whole series. Coach of the year, hands down. Crime against humanity if he doesn't win Coach of the Year, right, Matt?
No, it's a wrap.
Yeah,
that's a wrap. There's
exactly.
no way he doesn't win. I mean, the only one that could rival is Colorado because they went from how many wins did they have last year?
I know they didn't have a lot, but they ended up with like 40 something. Like yeah, I mean, right? It was a good story.
40 points. They were terrible, and then they made the playoffs this year. But I mean, you can't even compare that to what Gerard Gallant has done with a team that didn't even have a player on it 12 months ago. Just an incredible job. And he has his finger on the pulse of this team. I've used that exact line before. He knows exactly which buttons to push. The Ryan Reaves thing today, you could have put Tomas Nosek back in the game. You could have brought Hika in. You could have brought Peary in. He's up with the team playing. There were a lot of offensive weapons that were available for Gallant to bring in, and he realized, you know what? Now is the time for Reaves, who hasn't seen the ice this entire postseason. Now is the time we're going to put him into the game, and he played a phenomenal game. Gallant knows this team from top to bottom, whether they're a scratch or they're on the ice. He knows exactly what to do with these guys.
Yeah, and I had the thought just before the game about Peary, right? He brought a really nice jolt of offense when he was in the lineup for those few games with the Golden Knights, but that's why I don't coach hockey, Matt. Gallant made the right moves. Byron Teets saying the Golden Knights win an ESPY award. Has to be, for whatever it is. Story of the year, I don't know what the Big ESPY award is, but they better. We know there'll be a finalist for that. Kim saying, so great for Vegas, even better for the Knights. Love this for our town. Yeah, and I think the city is, again, you look at tragedy hitting the city, and the country got a good idea of what this community is like now. And now they're just seeing, screaming fans and live shots at watch parties. And tell us about the watch party that you were at. Our friends from Sin been through that. Was that a cool atmosphere over the Eclipse Theater?
A lot of fun. So, yeah, Eclipse Theater downtown. Apparently, Eclipse Theater got a hold of Ken Bulkey with Sinbin just yesterday and said, hey, let's do this thing.
Oh, there you go.
Get people down here, and let's just have a party. A lot of fun. The first theater opened up, and not a ton of seats in there. They got the recliners, so it's not a whole theater full of seats, but enough. First theater filled up in seconds. I mean, just real quick. So we kind of hung out, waited for the second one to open up. The second one was a little bigger. Second one filled up in seconds. I mean, it was amazing to see the turnout. Over 100, 120 people, some odd people. There were people hanging out in the bar, just watching the game out there, having drinks, having food. Everybody was into the game. Real nervous energy for the first period, obviously. But when that first goal went through, everybody was excited. They were doing free champagne shots for everybody. They were pouring a little bit of Prosecco for everybody for every goal. So we had a couple rounds of shots there. We didn't get the empty net champagne shot because at that point it was over. But Ken brought a big subwoofer and had the goal horn hooked up to it. So they were doing that whenever they would score, playing the Knights theme song or goal song, and just a lot of fun. It was a good time. It was fun to be around the fans. I know they had the thing down out at Toshiba Plaza, which looked amazing. Looked like thousands of people out there. I'm sure there were watch parties all over town. But just fun to be around a bunch of fans and be in that environment and really enjoy it. And somebody brought a shark piñata to the watch party, and they decided we're not going to mess with this thing until after the game, and they've won. So they had it hanging from the theater, from one of the two theaters. They had it hanging from underneath the screen, and when it was all said and done, they grabbed the piñata, and kids were beating it up, and they're throwing it on the ground and stomping it, and just a lot of fun. Just cool. Everybody's excited for it and having a blast with the Golden Knights win.
Yeah, if you're jumping on late here, welcome again to our video. It's the Sports Adrenaline Las Vegas team. We've been at this for a couple of years now, Matt. I think we're celebrating our 2-year anniversary. I'm John. That's Maddie. Give us a like if you haven't done that yet. We've been covering the Golden Knights, obviously, since the inception. Really, we started this show right when the Golden Knights were basically launched as a franchise. I think we started just a couple months before the initial announcement. Right. So we've been doing that. So give us a like, give us a follow. I've been in the locker room all season long covering games. So is Matt. So certainly if you're looking for some good inside coverage, I mean, there is a lot of local groups that are excellent, but we feel like we're right there with all of them, if not better than them with all the content that we bring. So just keep on watching us. So again, I'm going to go back, and I'm a little stunned. I got to be honest with you, Maddie. Let's move on to predictions here. We'll recap our predictions. I haven't given mine yet, but why don't you set it up again? Predictions for the next series, whether it's the Jets or it's the Predators. What do you again see going down here? I'm stunned. I'm stunned.
I'm stunned. I've been saying it for probably 6 or 7 weeks. Once you can kind of see what direction the playoffs were going to go and where the seedings were going to fall, you had a pretty good idea. I mean, you didn't know who with the Sharks and the Ducks and the Kings who was going to fall into, and then the Wild were still in it, the Avalanche. You didn't know how those seedings were going to fall, but you knew that it was going to be Western. Once you got to the Final Four of the Western Conference Finals, you knew it was going to be Knights versus one of those Pacific teams, and the Jets versus the Predators, and that's where we're at. And since you could kind of see that, I've been saying the Knights will get to the Western Conference Finals, but that's where it'll end. That's where this magical ride, this dream season, is going to come to an end. And we're now at that point because it's probably going to be the Jets, I think. But either way, you got to go on the road. The dynamic changes now. The series dynamic changes. You're looking at having to go weather the storm in a hostile environment with two phenomenal home arenas in the NHL. I just don't know that they're going to have enough to steal a game on the road and defend T-Mobile without losing at home. So, unfortunately, I'm going to say the Knights lose in 7. I think it's going to be a phenomenal series no matter who they play. I think you're going to see a lot of open ice, a lot of up and down hockey. You're going to see some physical play in there as well. It was nice to see the Knights play a clean game today. They pretty much stayed out of the penalty box outside of the early in the first period. But, man, I don't want the ride to end. But those two teams are good, man. The Jets and the Predators are good teams, and they finished above the Knights in points for a reason. Those are good teams.
Don't turn into Tony Cordasco on us, all right? Well, clearly you have.
I'm trying not to.
Now you're on the other side, man. I can't.
No.
I can't pick against this team at this point, Matt. I mean, we may think that, Nashville and the Jets are more talented, but when you have Marc-Andre Fleury in net in the way that he's playing, there's no question now that I just feel like the Knights can win one game in Winnipeg, and that's all they need to do, right? So I say Knights in 6.
Essentially,
which would be right. They win one of the two at home. They win 2 in Vegas, and then
I'll take it.
Then
man.
They'll lose. They can lose Game 5. It'll be 3-2 coming back to Vegas for Game 6, and I think Vegas wins at home if they're in that position. And you think about it, they have to hold home serve, which they can do, and they just have to win one game. So whether it's Games 1 or 2 or Game 5 in Winnipeg or in Nashville, and come back here and with the chance to win it in Game 6. So that's what I'm going to go with. And it's hard to not see that happen. If they lose the series, oh my God, great! What a friggin' season this is. But now that we've all had a taste, I mean, it's like, how can I can't pick against this team. I mean, I think in my official bracket, like 4 or 5 weeks ago, whenever the playoffs started, I think I picked Nashville to beat the Knights in the Western Conference Finals. But I'm going against that. That bracket's set in stone. But I think it's the Knights in 6. They just have to win one game on the road.
If the Knights can steal Game 1, whether it's in Nashville or Winnipeg, if they can go in there and steal Game 1, man, you talk about pressure on two established franchises. I know Winnipeg is born again, kind of. They lost their team for a while and then got them back, but that's a market that's had hockey forever and a day. If this team comes in and steals Game 1 on their home ice, every single fan in that arena is going to pucker up a little bit. Every single player on the ice for the other team is going to pucker up a little bit. And I think you're going to see the Knights start to play some loose hockey. Game 1 is pivotal. And now, unlike Tony, who is adamant about the Kings winning and adamant about the Sharks winning.
Ridiculous.
The Knights, without question, have a chance to win whichever series they play in here, whether it's Nashville or Winnipeg. They absolutely have a chance to win that series. You mentioned the regular season records. 2-1 against both teams, and they were all really good games. Both of those teams are playing and have been playing such phenomenal hockey down the stretch, and again finished above the Knights in the standings. But I mean, this team is just on some kind of run. And you mentioned Marc-Andre Fleury, man, this guy, he just again with another one off his chest, and he just swipes it out of the air, glove hand, and he makes it look so effortless when you know that these are just beyond ridiculous saves that he's making out there. And we know how hockey works. We know how the playoffs work. You can ride a hot goalie all the way through. And it's not like this team is Marc-Andre Fleury and a bunch of nothing. They have weapons up and down the lineup, and you saw it tonight with just how well this team plays the puck.
Yeah, maybe we'll convince you to change your mind before our show on Thursday.
I have no problem doing that.
Yeah, exactly. Marc-Andre has been dominant again, as you said. I'll make this bold prediction, right? Hold
on. Before you do, Tony's a commie. I love it. Yeah. I love it. It's my favorite comment of the day.
If the Knights win this next series, they win the Stanley Cup. I mean, that's it. I mean, the harder of the two series is going to be the Western Conference Final, and then if they can move on past that and play for a Stanley Cup, I think the Knights win the Stanley Cup. And I don't know.
You have to assume the winner's coming out of the West, right?
Right. So there it is. So now 4 wins away from a Stanley Cup. Is that no? I won't go that far. We still got some hockey to play here. Comments. Tim Duso saying wrong to your prediction. That's like the Donald Trump wrong. Tim says they have it. Elliot says not to get ahead, but how awesome would VGK Pittsburgh be in the finals? Of course. That would be epic, although Pittsburgh now down a game in their series, right, against the Capitals. Vince saying Vegas at 6. Matt says, come on, believe, Matt. Can't beat the honesty.
Oh, you know right. I believe.
Angelo says can't beat the honesty, and this is true. This is true. Matty is being completely honest. I'm a little stunned when I hear his prediction. Preston says Vegas at 6. Marcus, the night season won't end, Matt, not until we get the Stanley Cup. Have fun. Matt Evans again. I'm just going to read all these. So if you're watching, please comment. Look at the stats. when Fleury has the shutouts he has, they win and go to the final. I wonder if they got donuts in Toshiba Plaza. Krispy Kreme had a great opportunity there today. If they showed up with donuts, they should have. Richard Giacovino, our producer of the show, he says our city is on fire. There's an incredible amount of energy behind the Golden Knights. That they are. Angelo back again, 8-2 in the playoffs so far. Hard to bet against them. Just beat a really good team in San Jose that they did. Vince says goalies win championships. Tiffany says they beat those teams before. They have. Sorry, I'm still going. We got a ton of comments here. Tony Sakami. Now we got to Tony Sakami comment. Yeah, I agree. Tony, who's going to win so I can bet against you? That's exactly right. Tony Cordasco has been wrong with all his predictions so far. So you got to – wait, now here's the thing.
You know what's going to happen.
Right. He's going to pick the Knights, isn't he? He's going to pick the Knights finally.
Absolutely. You know he is.
You know what? Something's going to happen to him on the way to our show on Thursday, and he may not host. I'm just saying. I'm not saying, the Castanino family has a lot of connections to a lot of people. I'm just saying Tony may not make it to the show. Tim saying VGK all the way. Vince, the Golden Misfits. So let's touch on the Misfits again. And it's been a tone that we've talked on throughout the season, Matt, and it's something I just talked about. Man, these guys are they're on a mission. And when you're on a cohesive mission, and going back to what I was saying before my son came in here, right? I was watching this TED Talk, this research that I just came across it, and statistically, it's like one of those little bell curves, right? And they show the top of the curve was when you had less superstars. When you had, on an NBA team, you had 2 superstars instead of 4 superstars, although the Warriors are kind of changing that curve probably a little bit right now. But the research says the less superstars you have and the better team cohesion you have, the more champion. You need talent, but you also need these humble guys, these grinders. I mean, hockey epitomizes that to a large extent. But again, you're just talking about it's been a perfect storm here, Matt. You think one piece off. What if it's not George McPhee as the general manager who, did an excellent job in Washington before he left there? And then I don't know if he was out of hockey for a couple of years. I know once he left the GM position there, I don't think he had another NHL position. It might have been a lower tier one. But if he's not there, you're talking about a completely different team. So even if we start with that, it just seems like everything kind of came together and a perfect storm occurred, and that's why we're here today.
Well, it's not just the physical talent, the on-ice talent that he put together. It's the personalities he put together on this team. They didn't just look for guys that can go out and score goals. They didn't draft the best player available on each team. They drafted the best player available for them on each team. They made trades to get guys that they felt fit exactly what they wanted to do. They pieced this puzzle together one guy at a time to get this collective group. And that's what you're seeing out of this team. You mentioned, the no superstars thing. There are superstars on this team. They're just not recognized as that. Marc-Andre Fleury is an absolute superstar. James Neal is a superstar. I mean, this is a 20-goal-a-year scorer who was in Game 7 for the Predators last year. Carlson is an emerging superstar. There are guys on this team that are going to be household names if they're not already, but they don't play like that. They play like a group. Perfect example. Look at how the game ended today. You've got Ryan Carpenter coming down against his old team, right? The team that he was let go from this season, that the Knights picked him up from, the San Jose Sharks. He's coming down with an empty net and has a chance to score the final goal of the series and bury his old team. And what does he do? He passes it off to Eakin for the easy one instead of trying to get it by the defender. The easy, here, I'll take the assist, you score the goal, and we'll move on. Nobody's out trying to get this glorified position. They all want to play for each other for the greater good, which is winning the cup. And it's an amazing thing to watch this many guys buy into a system like this.
Yeah, and no egos. And you're talking about it. It starts at the top, right, with Marc-Andre Fleury. I mean, you've talked to him. Yeah. I've talked to him numerous times. Has to be one of the best athletes I've ever encountered, and really genuine. And he's genuinely happy. He doesn't love answering questions, which I get because, I mean, we talk to him all the time. But the guy, takes it in stride and knows it's part of his role and answers these questions honestly. It's not like he goes there to give answers that are off the mark or gives answers that he just doesn't want to give because he doesn't want to deal with it, right? When after a loss, you can tell that he took a tough loss. But after
he doesn't
a win,
like to lose, man.
Yeah, the guy celebrates and he's happy about it and he has a smile on his face. And that really, I feel like, has set the tone, right, for this whole team. I mean, they've all bought into him. They've all bought into Gallant. It's really been something to behold. And like I said, I don't think I'm going to be able to process it all until this thing ends, whenever it ends. And hopefully that's sometime in mid-June, which would be, another month from now, right? Another month of hockey. More comments. We're still rolling.
That's insane.
Yeah.
Yeah, fire away.
Angelo saying, how are